How's it going, YouTube? Got FourthStarTCG here, and today I would like to talk about selling your cards. I feel like a lot of people are, now that the market has sort of calmed down, people are feeling more comfortable with selling their cards now that prices are a little more stable, now that we're not seeing, things double in value every month. And over the past, couple years, there have been a lot of changes in the way that you can sell your cards. So I just wanted to do a video talking about the pros and the cons of different ways of selling your cards and what might be best for you. So we're going to talk about 3 different ways of selling your cards. We're going to talk about selling them yourself via eBay or Instagram or any other online marketplace. We're going to talk about sending them to an auction house or a consignment service. And then we're going to talk about selling to a business, selling to a flipper. And we're going to talk about the pros and the cons of each of these approaches and when each one might be right for you. Spoiler alert, choosing any one of these, there isn't a right answer to always sell via this method. There are going to be different ways that are appropriate at different times, and most people do use each of these different methods at different times. So, first off is selling yourself. I think this is probably the one that people are the most familiar with. You list your cards on eBay, you set a price, people buy them, you ship them out. But you can also sell via Instagram if you have an account that you've built up in terms of a large follower count. You have buyers there. You can also, there are some services on Instagram that will basically post your cards for sale for a small fee. And other online marketplaces, your Craigslist and stuff. That's definitely not familiar to most people. But then there's stuff like TCG Player, and in the European Union, there's Card Market and stuff. So what are the pros for selling yourself, selling via eBay, any other kind of online marketplace? The first and most important pro, I feel, is near immediate payment. If you have a well-established eBay account or a well-established PayPal, chances are you are going to get the money from your sale within a couple days, if not immediately. And you can immediately transfer that to your bank account. If you, need money to pay for a card, you need money to pay for something else, selling yourself can get you money very, very quickly. And it's basically going to be one of, if not the fastest way to get the money is selling yourself via eBay. Once, that sale is completed, of course. Another pro for selling yourself is control over when and how you sell. Right, so you can decide to list your items high and take best offers. You can choose an auction style listing. You can set an opening bid amount, or you can set a reserve price for an auction that if it doesn't go that high, you wouldn't be comfortable selling it. Because you're doing everything on eBay, on these online marketplaces, you have a lot of control over what your cards will sell for. And you have control over, getting what you could get the best price for your items, or what you feel is appropriate for your items. Unless you do an auction style listing, you don't really have to. You can evaluate a best offer, something like that. And it's all kind of in one easy to manage place. Additionally, you have relatively low fees. For example, selling on something like Instagram, there isn't any fees other than like PayPal goods and services. eBay takes 13% roundabout in terms of fees for their managed payment system. But if you go to an auction house or a consignment service or something like that, their fees are going to be higher. Whether they charge those fees to you as a seller, as a cut from the final bid price, or whether they charge those fees to a buyer as a buyer's premium. There's always fees there. It doesn't really matter who pays the fees, because you end up as the seller getting less than what the buyer pays. So it doesn't really matter if it's, a convoluted buyer's premium system like with PWCC or Heritage, or a cut from the final sale price, seller's fee, like an eBay listing. There are fees. And on eBay, the fees are less than PWCC or something like that. The cons of selling yourself on eBay or Instagram or any other online marketplaces, the biggest one I feel is time and effort. It takes a lot of time to take pictures of your cards, to list them on any online marketplace, answer questions from buyers, buy shipping labels, pack things up for shipping, drive to the post office. All of this takes a lot of time. So if you don't have a lot of time and you don't want to spend it selling, you might want to consider some other option. Another con on eBay or Instagram or these online marketplaces is the possibility of getting scammed by buyers, the possibility of buyer returns. I don't know how many stories I've heard from people who sold sealed booster boxes and then all of a sudden they get a claim that, oh, I opened it up and the cards are all fake. No, they just didn't pull what they wanted and they want to return it. And they're going to force a return even though they've already damaged the product by opening it. People who say, oh, there was a scratch in this PSA case or a scratch in this BGS case after they've posted it on Instagram and flaunted it. After a while, they decide, you know what, actually, I don't want it. The market went down. There's a scratch on the case. I'm going to return it. Things like this are not super common, but they are a possibility. So you have to factor in, most eBay buyers are great, but a small percentage will give you problems. And the worst is when you really get hosed. You sell something, maybe you use that money for something, and then someone says, oh, I need to return this. eBay's done a better job recently of instituting things like the 3-day return window, the authenticity guarantee system, even for graded cards. So now these scam possibilities are going down. It's harder for buyers to scam these days on eBay, but it's certainly still a possibility. There's also the possibility of non-paying buyers. Non-paying buyers is a huge issue on eBay. I've had to deal with it myself. People bid on your item and then turns out they're from the EU and they'll only pay if you mark down the value of the package. And they say this through eBay messages. Spoiler alert, marking down the value on packages is illegal and you can get your eBay account taken away if you agree to it through something like an eBay message that eBay can read. So doing something like that, they say, oh, well, I'm only going to pay if you mark down the customs value. Doing that outside of eBay is one thing. Doing it through an eBay message, you can lose your account. Obviously, you don't want to do that. Also, sometimes some items may take a long time to sell. If you have control over when and how your items sell, but they may not sell for the price you want. It may take a while. You have to kind of be ready to ship items if they sell. You have to be on top of that, and you might not get all the money you want in the time frame that you want. And a final con of eBay especially is, and even selling through PayPal, is automatic tax reporting. Now again, obviously this is not tax advice, but a lot of people who are just sort of selling a couple cards on the side aren't necessarily required to report that as taxable income. Again, talk to a tax advisor. I am not qualified to answer these questions or provide any advice here. But I do know that a lot of times people will get tax forms like a 1099 when they really don't owe any taxes. This has happened to me. You sell stuff on eBay for less than you pay for it, but you still get a tax form that says, this has been reported to the IRS, and then you have to, if you do owe taxes or if the IRS audits you, then you have to prove that you don't owe taxes on this, and it can be a pain. Obviously, if you owe taxes, you better pay them. But this automatic tax reporting can be a hassle if you don't owe taxes and you won't owe taxes on whatever you sell. This is pretty common if you're just selling as a hobby, you're not selling as a business, you're not making any profit on what you're selling. The next possibility is selling via an auction house or a consignment service. Now, this has a lot of pros. So the pros are, it basically deals with all of the cons of selling yourself on eBay. So there's really limited time and effort that you have to put in, right? You just package up your things, you ship them off to the auction house, and they deal with everything. They take the pictures, they handle the listing, they handle the shipping, they handle all the labor, right? There can also be increased visibility with using an auction house. Selling yourself on eBay, you don't have a marketing budget. These auction houses have marketing budgets. They have a lot of eyes on their services. That's why everyone used PWCC on eBay, because they had so many eyes on their service. That's why they often that's why PWCC sales were often like the big thing within Pokemon when they were on eBay. This increased visibility might also lead to increased prices for your cards. So we did mention, this is in the cons section of auction houses, that they have higher fees, right? Because they have to recoup the value of the labor of listing and selling and shipping and all this stuff. But those higher fees can be offset in part by your cards selling for more money because there is increased visibility present with these auction houses. There's also no threat of scams or returns from buyers. This auction house will handle all of that most frequently, and they won't pass that off to you as the consignor. Especially now that PWCC is off of eBay and they don't have that requirement, it's very rare that you're going to be hit with a, item not as described case. That's just not going to happen if you sell your cards through a consignment service like PWCC. And another pro, some auction houses do not automatically report the proceeds that you get from the sales of your cards. So if you are in a situation where you don't need to pay taxes on your cards, that lack of automatic tax reporting might be important. However, if you do need to pay taxes on cards, it might be difficult to keep track of that if they don't send you a tax form. So again, it's kind of what works for you. And if you're a small-time seller, probably don't need to pay taxes. If you're a business, if you're doing this more significantly, you probably do. The cons for an auction house or a consignment service. It can take a long time for things to move through the process. So you have to factor in shipping to the auction house. You have to factor in time for them to curate, list, run the auctions, and issue payment. So just for me, I just sold some cards through PWCC. It took about 2 months end to end from me dropping off the cards in the mail to the money being available in my PWCC account for payout. So keep that in mind. If you need money fast, these auction houses may not be for you because it does take a little bit. Some eBay consignment services might be a little quicker than that, than PWCC, but I don't know if they would be that much faster. So you really have to keep that in mind if you need money fast. If you have a plan down the road, sending to an auction house might be best, but if you need a card, need money for a card to buy now, you need fix your car, or you have bills coming due or something and you want to sell some cards, auction house may not be for you unless you plan that out in advance. Another con, there's no control over the listing method for these auction houses. Very rarely it's just a 99-cent or $9.99 plus auction, and whatever it sells for, that's that. You can do some things on PWCC with like the fixed price marketplace, which I don't know if really anyone looks at that. But I feel like if you're doing that, then you might as well just sell via eBay or something, because you have all the pros. And cons are higher fees, especially for stuff that may not necessarily be all that significant in terms of value. Those higher fees are going to eat into your margins more than an eBay sale would. I notice a lot of things on PWCC that are not really high-end cards going for lower than they would on eBay. There's a lot of deals available, just because people are kind of put off by the 20% buyer's premium, and they're just not really looking for those, low-end cards on something like PWCC. So, the final sale option, which I think is overlooked a lot, is selling to a flipper or selling to a business. I know a lot of people will buy collections, a lot of businesses will make collection purchases. And there's some really significant pros to this. The pros are that you can get a large amount of cash very quickly. So for these businesses, buying $10,000, $20,000 collections is very within the realm of possibility for them. This is not a significant, not a crazy outlay for them. They will commonly buy collections in the $10,000, $20,000 range, and you can get these fast. There's no need to wait for your sales to complete. There's no uncertainty about the amount of money you might get from auctions. Often a business will be able to give you a clear cash offer immediately for a large amount of your cards. There's also, again, similar to the auction house, there's no labor outlay for selling. You just bring all your stuff to a business, ship it all to a flipper or something, and they take care of the rest. You don't have to wait for, is it going to sell for this much amount? The business just gives you the money straight up, and that's that. Again, you don't have to worry about scamming with this stuff. They give you a price, they pay you, and it's done. And also there's usually no automatic tax reporting for this kind of thing as well. Now the cons of selling to a flipper or selling to a business, there's really just one, but it's a significant one, is that they're going to offer you well below market value for your collection. Many businesses are going to offer somewhere in the neighborhood of about 60 to 70% of the market value of your items. Now, this makes sense because they need to make a profit on what they're buying, right? They're not buying your collection to do you a favor. They're buying it because they need to make money. This is going to make money for their business. So there needs to be room for them to do that. And the benefit of giving you a lot of money really quickly is offset by the cost of them not giving you the full market value of your collection. But again, sometimes this might be right for people. If you discover an old collection, or you just want to offload something without having to deal with all of the uncertainty about how much money you're going to get, the time it's going to take for an auction house to sell, the possibility of scams, and the labor outlay of listing on eBay, selling to a flipper or a business might work best for you. Now, just to sort of finish this up, I just want to highlight that, again, each one of these options is different, or is right for different people at different times. I often sell a lot of my stuff on eBay. But I also just shipped a bunch of stuff to PWCC. I go to school in Canada. I was like, I don't really want to deal with shipping and listing and selling from Canada, because this international shipping is usually a pain, especially now with a lot of shipping delays due to COVID. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to send my cards to PWCC. Don't want to have to deal with the labor of shipping. Don't want to have to deal with the possibility of packages getting lost. I'm happy with it taking longer and PWCC taking a cut of my profits in order to not deal with all of those issues. However, I'm heading back home for the summer in a little bit, and then I'm going to sell some stuff on eBay because it's easier. I can generate more value in that by selling via eBay, and for some things it makes sense. I don't know if I would ever sell to a flipper or a business, but if, for example, I had a really significant medical bill that came up really fast and I didn't have the money in the bank to pay for it, for some, crazy, I don't think that would ever happen. I'm thankfully in a financial position where I wouldn't have to worry about that. But if that did happen, then selling to a flipper, selling to a business, that's definitely a great decision because you get the money fast and you don't have to worry about anything else. So I hope this video was informative for what options there are for selling your cards and the pros and cons of each option, and if you're looking to sell, which one you might choose. So thank you all very much for watching. If there are any pros or cons that I missed, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and stick around for more videos.